Welcome back to Horror Recaps. Today, I will be showing you a thriller/drama from 2017 titled Super Dark Times. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The story begins when we see a broken window in a high school classroom. Inside the room is a dead deer. Students surround the deer and look at it in awe. When the police arrive, they tell everyone to leave. As they do, one of the officers kicks the deer's corpse. Zach Taylor and Josh Templeton are two high school students. The boys are at Zach's, rating the girls in their school's yearbook. As they do so, they get to a girl named Allison Bannister. Both Zach and Josh seem to be interested in the girl. Then they decide to go to the supermarket to get some food. As they wear jackets and boots, Josh complains about the cold. They go to the market on their bicycles, where they meet a friend Daryl and a guy their age named Charlie. Then they get food from the supermarket along with a packaged dry squid. The boys try the squid and hate it. They leave for the town bridge. It is closed for some reason, but they still go inside and hang out. Later, the duo separates from the group. As they walk to Zach's home, they come across a group of bullies. Zach urges Josh to ignore them, but Josh attacks the leader when he mentions his brother. The bully dominates Josh but eventually lets him go. On his way back, Josh curses them. Zach then takes him to Allison's house. He knows it from their previous bus route. Josh tells him that he likes Allison because of an incident at art class when she had glue over her hands which reminded him of sperms. Zach jokingly shouts penis, which causes someone to turn the lights on in the house. They flee from there. They finally get back to Zach's house, and his mother asks them if Josh is staying. She is relieved to hear he is not because she hasn't made food for 3 people. After Josh leaves, Zach's mom tells him that some girl named Allison had called him. Surprised, he goes into his room with the phone and calls her back. Allison's brother picks up the call and tells him that he is not there, but she shouts from behind to give her the phone. She then invites him and Josh to her birthday party happening at Megan's. The following day, they are at school. Zach notices Allison in the hallways and stares at her. Just then, Josh comes from behind him and starts talking. After school, the duo, along with Daryl, is at Josh's house. They talk about his brother, and Daryl asks to see his room. His room is filled with pictures of girls and collective weapons. Daryl jumps on the waterbed and finds a stash of weed on the side table. He pleads to Josh to try some, but Josh refuses, saying that his brother will ask for them when he is back. He then proceeds to show them his brother's katana sword. It is sharp enough to cut someone. They watch it in awe. Josh then suggests they slice milk cartons with it. So, the group leaves for a meadow nearby. Charlie from earlier is there too. As they cut the water-filled cartons with the katana, Daryl starts smoking in the back. When asked what it is, he tells them that it is a cigarette, but they soon realize that he had stolen weed from Josh's. Josh gets mad at him and asks for his stash back. But Daryl denies. They get into a fight and Zach separates them. In anger, Josh calls Daryl poor. This makes Daryl furious, so he attacks Josh again. This time, Josh has the katana sword in his hands. As they are fighting, Josh mistakenly stabs him on his neck. The group is mortified as they watch Daryl bleed in the ground. Zach panics and takes the katana out to help Daryl, but instead, this causes him to lose more blood. Daryl stands up and starts to run. Zach and Josh follow him and find him lying on the ground. Zach puts his hand on Daryl's neck to check if he is bleeding but is disgusted by all the blood. He vomits as Josh cries and apologizes. The 3 of them hide the body and the sword and flee. On the way to his house, Zach punches a wall in frustration and hurts his fist. When he is home, he is surprised to see Allison waiting for him with his mom. They go to his room where he mends his wound and talks to her for a while. They are almost about to kiss but stop midway. After Allison leaves, Zach goes to bed. The following day, Josh doesn't come to the school. When school ends, Zach goes to see Charlie. He acts as though he has never been friends with Josh and tells him he doesn't remember that day. He wants to have no association with them. After hearing that, Zach goes to Josh's home to check upon him. He knocks on the door, but Josh doesn't open it. Zach is back home and anxious. Just then, his mother asks him about Daryl. Daryl's mother called her and said he hadn't been home since yesterday. She also mentioned that he was at Josh's. Zach lies to her and says that Daryl was never at Josh's. Worried, his mom asks him to always stay close to the house. That night, Zach gets a nightmare about Daryl. He has a sharp pain in his stomach when he wakes up. It is because of the medicine he took because he couldn't sleep. The following day, everyone at school is talking about Daryl going missing. The school announces that they are just rumors and encourages anyone who has seen Daryl to report it to the office. That day after school, Zach again goes to Josh's. This time, his mother opens the door. She tells him that Josh has not been feeling well. She knocks on his room, but he doesn't answer. Still, she lets Zach go in. He goes into Josh's room to find him playing video games. He tells him that this is not the right time to draw attention, so he should come to school. Both of them cannot sleep at night. Zach wants to go to the crime scene again to check on the body, but Josh is against the plan. Josh still has Daryl's bag. He decides to burn it, but Zach asks him not to do anything before discussing it with him. After sitting there in silence for a while, Zach loses his control and tells Josh that it was just an accident. He then invites him to Allison's party. But Josh hasn't had much sleep, so he denies it. The next day, Zach falls asleep in his classroom and dreams about going to where they hid the body. He removes the leaves to reveal that Daryl's corpse has changed to Allison's. In the dream, he kisses her as Josh watches them from behind. Later, he is in the library, where he hears a bunch of kids say that Josh got in trouble for cursing at his teacher. He spies on Josh in his detention class. Later that night, he goes to Allison's party and is welcomed by Megan. He goes to see Allison and finds her in a room with several other people. She kisses him on the cheek to greet him. Just then, he sees Josh in the room as well. They all sit down, and Josh gives Allison some weed as a birthday gift. Zach takes him aside and inquires about the weed, but Josh dismisses it. Their bully, Senior John Whitcomb, asks Josh about the weed. He promises to link him with a dealer. Seeing everyone smoke, Zach leaves the party but is stopped by Allison outside. She tries to kiss, but he stops. Eventually, he leaves the party. The next day Zach is in his classroom when a guy in his class tells him that John Whitcomb, who was at the party last night, was found dead. Apparently he fell off the bridge. He and Allison talk about John later that day, after which he walks her home. She kisses his forehead and asks Zach to come over, but he doesn't answer her, so she goes inside. When Zach reaches his home, his mom isn't there. She has left a message on the answering machine telling him that she will be home late. He takes a torchlight and flees to the place where they hid Daylin's body. He searches for it and finds Daylin's decaying corpse, but the katana sword is nowhere to be found. He rushes back to his house again and calls Charlie. He tells him that Josh might have killed John Whitcomb. Zach thinks that Josh has taken the sword from its hiding, slashed Daylin's fingers with it, and also killed John. Charlie dismisses his claims and tells him never to call again. Later that night, Zach's mom comes home with Joshua. Zach asks him what he is doing there. He also tells him about the missing sword. They argue back and forth for a while, after which Josh leaves. Zach's mom heard about John's death. She is worried about her son. The following day, Zach goes to Josh's house. When nobody answers the doorbell, he takes the keys from under the doormat and breaks in. He then searches for the sword in his room but doesn't find it. He goes through his recent calls to see Allison's number in the recent dial. Zach quickly rushes to her house, thinking she might be in trouble. But Allison is not there. She is at Megan's house. Josh is with them too. He has brought the sword wrapped around on a beach towel. Meanwhile, Allison's brother answers the door. He tells Zach that she is at Megan's. He then hurries to Megan's house. Josh is there to sell them weed. He offers it for free in hopes of impressing Allison. The girls are still unaware of the sword. They go into Megan's room to smoke. Josh follows from behind with his sword still hidden in the towel. The girls offer Josh the blunt, but he refuses to have it. Allison asks what is inside the towel. He shows them the sword. Megan is fascinated by it and plays with it while Allison lays on her bed smoking. Zach, on the other hand, seems to have forgotten Megan's home. He runs around the street looking for it. When he finally finds it, he goes inside without ringing the doorbell. He takes a little shovel as a weapon and carefully goes upstairs. He opens her door to reveal a dead and bloodied Megan lying on the bed while Allison is tied with Christmas lights on the side of the room. Josh is looking at himself in the mirror with no distress. As Zach tries to open the door, Josh notices and quickly closes it from the inside. He tries a few times to break into the door but is unsuccessful. So he runs outside and shouts for help, but no one is around. He then somehow manages to break into the room through the windows. Just then, Josh gets out of the door and runs away. But Allison and Megan are still there. He unties a scared Allison and tries to calm her down. Looking for Josh, he carefully goes outside and then downstairs. Zach is startled when Josh attacks him through the hallways. He attacks him with his sword and almost kills him. Zach is injured and bloodied when he reminds Josh that he is a friend and tells him to stop. But Josh doesn't listen and chases him outside. He stabs him with the sword when a neighbor sees them fighting and stops them. The police arrive at the scene. As the paramedics are checking Zach, he sees Josh inside the police car. A few months later, Allison recovered from the injuries. She sits in her classroom, And we see 3 scars on the back of her neck. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.